All right, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Psycho's Platters, always powered by coffee each and every time. You asked for it. You got it. Another installment of Jukebox from Hell. So, I teased you in the last time in regards to in episode 3, we were going to go off and have an album from June of 1983. We're tackling Ringo Starr's Old Wave today. Here's the front, here's the back. I'm going to show you here, of course, on a vinyl standpoint, we are looking at an original RCA Victor Canadian press of the album is what I have. I have had this in my possession, probably about at least 30 years. I found it at a reasonable price actually back then. But let's talk about this album a little bit, shall we? So, the previous album we happened to have from Ringo was Stop and Smell the Roses, which came out in October 1981 on Boardwalk Records, which was owned by Neil Bogart, former president and owner of Casablanca Records, who, of course, helped get Kiss out on the rock and roll map, right? So, Old Wave here, which came out in June of 1983, originally was going to be called It Beats Sleep. What a title on that one. So, as far as for the recordings of this album are concerned, you've got one song going back to July 1978. The rest of it basically stops and starts from February through July of 1982. Now notice I said July 82 and that this album came out in June of 83. So, unfortunately, we got to do a little bit more backstory. This was supposed to be released on Boardwalk Records in the US, but like I said, due to Neil Bogart's death, that didn't happen. Now, my added interjection comment is this. You had other people on that label. You had Joan Jett, you had, in the Blackhearts, great band. You had Night Ranger, the early stuff's great, okay. They end up getting scooped up by MCA. How come Ringo didn't end up getting scooped up by MCA? That's one that kind of surprises me, although, maybe saying that, they took a look at well, I don't want to say disasters of the Atlantic and Portrait Records catalog we had in the United States. So needless to say, no US and no UK pressings. You ended up having pressed in Germany on Bellafon, alright, and like I said, RCA in Canada, which did distribute that album, of course, to Canada, Mexico, New Zealand, Japan, the Netherlands, and Brazil. So they all got this album. On a record collecting standpoint, Germany did actually press this album with leftover Boardwalk Records labels. So if you happen to have one with that, then you're doing pretty good on that one for collectability. Now, your players on this album, I stated in my last video that it looked good on paper. And it really, really did, because not only did you have Ringo, but you had Joe Walsh. That's right, Joe Walsh pretty much produced this thing. Joe Walsh, of course, only 2.5 years before, roughly, the Eagles broke up. He started his solo career again. So you've got him on guitar, background vocals, synths, and harmony, and harmonicas. Waddy Wacto, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, was on a bunch of Ringo's albums, session guitarist extraordinaire. You've got Eric Clapton chimes in on Everybody Is Hurtin' But Me. And John Entwistle from The Who, of course, he's also on that track. Chris Stanton, who was in Joe Cocker's band, he's on keys. And you also got Gary Brooker, who was in Procol Harum, also on keys. And when you've got Joe Walsh, most of the time you're going to have Joe Vitale coming on in, and that's exactly what happened here. He's on piano and backing vocals on As Far As We Can Go. And of course there's others on that. So let's go into the tunes themselves, shall we? So we go off and we start the album off with In My Car. What a very cool song to start this album. Love this song. Joe Walsh guitars and background vocals too. Seriously, probably my favorite song off of here right off the bat. And by the way, all my information today for this particular album comes from multiple sources. You've got Ringo Starr's official website. You've got Steve Hoffman forums. You've got Wikipedia, and you got AllMusic. All contributed to the information of this today. So you started off the album really, really great. Track 2, Hopeless. It's a sing-songy tune that is entertaining and made me laugh a couple times. A few years ago, this would have been part of my life soundtrack, if you get what I'm saying on that. Feeling hopeless, in other words, right? Track 3, another good one, Alibi, starts off sounding like Can't Fight Lightning. Now, if you Ringo fans, you Ringophiles, know that originally there was an album that was started in 1980 from Ringo called Can't Fight Lightning, and Paul co-wrote that song too. If you've never heard that song, go listen to it on YouTube. It ends up being a bonus track on Stop and Smell the Roses for the CD reissue. But for like the first minute, it exactly sounds like Can't Fight Lightning, and then, you know, it goes into a different direction. It's an okay song. Number 4, Be My Baby. It's an okay song too, but I do like the Joe Walsh guitar box vocals. Always like that kind of stuff from Joe, Frampton, anybody that's got one of those kind of devices. Number 5, She's About a Mover, cover of that classic Sir Douglas Quintet song. All I can say is, once again, why? Why did they feel, oh boy. You guys know kind of how I feel about covers. Number 6, I Keep Forgetting, which is another cover. It's a Lieber Stoller tune that originally was done in the late 50s by Chuck Jackson. It's kind of meh is the word I'm going to use on this. Picture Show Life, track 7, another meh tune. Number 8, As Far As We Can Go. Well, the July 1978 track Completely was produced by Russ Ballard out in Switzerland. But the complete 1978 version of this is the bonus track on the 1994 CD reissue on the Right Stuff label. But for this version, they just kept the 1978 vocal, and Joe Walsh went and redid the rest of the track. So there you go on that. Number 9, Everybody's in a Hurry, but Me. Fun song in a jam atmosphere. This is the track that's got Eric Clapton and John Entwistle on it. You know, my only complaint about it, I wish it was a bit longer. It actually were going in a nice groove there. You know, another 60 to 90 seconds of this would have been extra fun. But I like that one. And then lastly, we go with Going Down, which is a nice little party vibe to end the album. And Barbara Bach, his wife, is on backing vocals on this track too. Now remember, guys, though, okay, I'm not really bashing the Beatle here, alright? We all know that if we collect Beatles albums and solo Beatles albums, then Ringo albums pretty much are good time music albums mostly, okay? That doesn't mean that there's not going to be a few clunkers here and there. So what I'm really saying about all of this is out of all honesty, I'd say half this album was pretty good. I really do think so. Would have made for a strong EP. Boy, why do I have a feeling in this series that there's going to be a lot of strong EPs in these episodes. So right after this, you end up getting a Rhino compilation that comes out in 1989. Ringo's Starstruck, Best of Volume 2, which covers the non-Apple years up to that point. And then you have, in October 1990, you've got the live Ringo Starr and the All-Star Band, which is actually a really good live album there. But your next studio album is not going to show up for 9 years after this, which is the really, really good Time Takes Time from May of 1990. 92. So once again, go be your own musical detective on this. Ringo Starr's Old Wave, which that's also a little inside joke too. Instead of New Wave, which was the big thing in 83, Old Wave. I love the picture on here. Like I said, go be a musical detective and check it out. So I know you're saying with bated breath, oh boy, what is the next episode of Jukebox from Hell? We're going to go back a decade. We're going to go back a decade to the summer of 1973. That's right. This band, or this group, if you will, very talented individuals, were the heartthrobs in the early 1970s to lots and lots of women around the world. They come off of 3 hit albums to go off and make this. Yes. Next, on episode 4 from Jukebox from Hell, the Osmonds, The Plan, which happens to be a concept album basically about the plan of salvation, which is in the Mormon religion. Yes. So, the Osmonds. Is there going to be one bad apple in this album? You betcha. And as always, guys, thanks for watching Jukebox from Hell. Always powered by coffee each and every time. Please like and subscribe, because you never know where Mighty Psycho's going to go next. Take care, all. God bless. Rock on.